Welcome back to Frontline Fantasy Football. This is your host, Jason Cameron, and I'm here with my co-host, Brandon Alessio.
Hi, how are you?
Good, Brandon. I'm not sure what the voice was. And then to his left, Austin Alessio.
Are you on Metacritic?
Looking something up.
And then we also are joined by the Mikeless, the producer, the eyes and ears, Seth Hansen.
The Mikeless, the producer?
Whatever.
Producer without a mic.
The producer who doesn't have a
I'm
mic.
sorry.
Everybody knew who I
There was a
meant.
hypothetically a comma there. I'm sorry.
I knew what he meant.
Jeez, we're going to start off by you correcting my grammar.
rough intros.
Okay, so it's anything. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing well.
Another
How about
week
you,
of fantasy
Jason?
football.
Mediocre at best.
I know you two just played each other in fantasy football in one of our leagues, and
It's one of those sad weeks where I deserve to take a loss, you know? I was the second lowest scorer, but I played the lowest scorer. So, don't play the music for me. I mean, I'm 2-0. I'm like the most non-deserved 2-0 in the league.
We lost Corey Coleman this week.
So run down your list real quick. Who you lost?
Allen Robinson, David Johnson. Who else?
You just said Coleman.
Corey Coleman. Jordan Howard's
is almost
basically
there.
out. Yeah, I might as well not even played him. Macklin got hurt, but he came back in. Hogan is questionable. Then we go to Engram, the tight end from.
Oh, Evan Ingram.
Yeah, he's down to questionable as well. So.
And we're still not sure what happened to Brandon Marshall.
No, he's
still missing.
If anyone has seen Brandon Marshall, please contact the authorities at once. He's been missing for about 2 weeks now.
Well, thankfully you've started him 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
So
Yes, thankfully.
Jason,
Bold
do you
move.
think Brandon has a chance to have the league's longest losing streak?
Well, considering the
Well,
losing streak's 11, and I've
No,
come
no,
close
it's
to winning.
8.
I've come
8.
to lose.
Who was
I've
it
come
held
close
by?
2 weeks in a row.
John started the season 0-8.
John Cruz. 0-8. Ouch.
Yeah, and
I
also, the
think-
waiver wire saved him though.
Yeah, he had the number 1 for
I-
8 straight weeks, and he finished on a 5-game win
I
streak.
think with the updated waiver system, Brandon is going to lose at least 9 games.
It's a
90%.
load of nonsense. Load of nonsense.
Brandon will be wearing a dress next year. So let's jump into the injuries. While Brandon was talking about it, we have a lot of injuries. So first one, Rob Gronkowski, groin. Tyler Eifert, back. Jimmy
Shocker.
Graham, ankle. All 3 of those guys are still going to play next week, or most likely going to.
Lost a lot of tight ends this year.
Yep.
It's not been a good year.
They always do though.
Jordy Nelson, hamstring. Another tight end, Jordan Reed, chest. Also, those 2 are both going to play. Sam Bradford, knee. Still questionable, but most likely is going to play. Rob Kelly, ribs. They said that they are going to test him in practice, so basically spray a numbing spray on him and then give him a bunch of pads around the ribs.
That's a
and
thing.
See how he looks.
Why
But
are you surprised?
He sprayed and fixes a hurt bone.
it's
No,
just a numbing spray.
It's numb.
I don't understand science. Continue.
Okay, and so his backup is none other than Samaje Perine. So he's out there, waiver wire. Look for him. And then Greg Olsen and Corey Coleman both had more serious injuries than the rest of the people named. Greg Olsen, broken foot, out 6 to 8 weeks, gonna have surgery on it. Corey Coleman broke a bone in his hand, his metacarpal, I don't know,
Something like that.
whatever, out 8 weeks. Also on Brandon's fantasy
Mm-hmm.
team. So just the trend of a bunch of tight ends getting injured. What are some tight ends that you guys would be looking for in this week's waiver wire? Just that are out there.
Well, first off, I want to say I'm already worried owning Zach Ertz because his days are numbered. It's coming for me.
I actually think he's he's going to be a top 5 end.
Top
5
he's
tight end
solid.
all year.
It's just he's been hurt the past 4 years.
He's more like dinged up. I don't know if you'd say he's.
Eric Ebron. I'd say Ebron. I liked what I saw last week. Week 1 he was lousy.
Does it worry you that was his first touchdown since week 1 of 2016? So basically,
Well, I mean, considering after all those, we're going for tight ends in between the 12 to 15 range. I mean, he's a lot better than a lot of people out there. If I'm just scrolling.
would you rather
down
have
through
him or Hunter Henry?
Probably him. But that's not saying much.
Ugh.
Hunter Henry, what's he done?
I'd rather have Hunter Henry.
He had 80 yards. They both had 0-point week 1s, I think.
That was kind of a fluke for Hunter Henry, though.
Was it? Antonio Gates getting a touchdown was more flukish to me, but
No. Hunter Henry, the week 1.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant
Zero
last
catches.
week. I'm sorry.
See, I like Charles Clay week 1, and then they completely forgot to give him the ball week 2.
That's
So
just kind of how it is.
so that's how it always is with him. He'll be really good one week and is awful the next week. Sadly, there aren't many good tight ends.
Also, want to mention Austin Seferian-Jenkins is coming off of his suspension. He's on the Jets, so I mean,
He used to be on the Bills, right?
he's not that
Not
appealing.
Bills,
The
Bucks.
Bucks,
Sorry.
yep.
Okay.
He's decided to quit drinking, which is what got him suspended in the first place. So
Decided
we
to
could actually
quit
see
drinking.
if he's going to be something special. You might want to try picking him up just for the heck of it.
Jason Witten is probably not owned too much. I mean, he's actually had 2 good weeks, which I mean I don't expect to continue. But if that's that's probably the best you got, right?
I mean, Dak throws to him, so I mean, why not?
More so in a PPR, he'd be a lot better.
Much more efficient
PPR
than
monster.
Des Bryant too. I mean, they'll probably be targeting him more anyways.
Is Jack Doyle commonly owned?
No, I don't believe he was.
I mean,
think
he's
he was
another
under
good one. He
30%
he caught 8 for 8 on all 8 of his targets last week.
But even catching all 8 of his targets, he only ended with 7 points.
Yeah, but as a tight
Still,
end, that's not bad.
I think he's going to be a consistent 7 points instead of Ebron, where it's going to be like a 12 or nothing.
Well, especially if he's not owned, that's not a bad pickup, for a tight end.
So let's move on to our next segment. Seth will need some music for this one. It's called Are They Droppable? So I'm just going to name off some players. You guys are going to basically
Are you
say.
just gonna read Braden's roster?
Yeah, read my entire roster.
You're just going to say if they're droppable or not. Then
Are any of
if
these
they're-
players injured currently?
No.
Do you have any? Well, I'm just
Um,
saying. Do we have any Andrew Lucks, Danny Woodheads?
no.
Okay.
Okay, so first one. LeGarrette Blount, 0 carries last game after having 14 in week 1.
Now.
I would hold, but if you had a better option, I mean, if you had like a good waiver wire, I'd drop him for. Like, I mean, I'd probably drop him for, the name is fleeing me right now, but the Bears backup running back, or like
Tariq Cohen,
I'd drop him for Cohen. Yeah,
Chris Carson.
yeah, I would. Like those guys, I'd drop him for. Just kind
Would
of
you
depends.
rather
What's
have him or like Kerwin Williams?
Pass.
I guess I'd probably just hold on to him
I'd
another
rather
week.
have him. Yeah.
If he has 2 bad weeks in a row, that's when I'm really jumping ship.
So basically, try and trade him now, if he has any value.
I feel like nobody's gonna give you anything. I would hold on to him one more week.
I was offered straight up LeGarrette Blount for Frank Gore last week, and I chose not to do it.
Yeah, you've been trying to trade him to me all week for Golden Tate, which is definitely no.
Is it Golden Tate?
Yes, you sent it twice.
Oh, whatever. Next one up, Isaiah Crowell. First game, he had 17
Why are
carries.
you so disrespectful? to
Time
Crow?
out. Let me talk. 17 carries, 33 yards.
You heard
Second
his
game,
stats?
he had 10 carries for 37 yards, 0
Do you even
touchdowns.
need to ask the
He
question
was,
why?
he was against 2 of the best rush defenses in the league.
Who'd he play?
Baltimore and who's week 1?
Half of me thinks the Baltimore
Steelers.
defense is a
Steelers, yeah.
Both of those to me are a.
I'm not a believer in the
They
Steelers
haven't played
defense.
either good. None of them have played a good team yet.
So is he droppable, Brandon?
No, definitely not. He just met with his coach. He wants more carries.
He's not droppable,
I'm
but
sure Paul Perkins wants more carries.
you
Well,
feel
Paul Perkins
you
is
feel
scrub.
really bad. Yeah, speaking of droppable, you feel really bad though if you drafted Crowell with a reasonable pick.
Not yet.
It just shows you
Not
how
yet.
it was just a really dumb pick.
No, not yet. I still believe in the Crow.
Okay, as an owner, are you trying to trade him or
No.
trying to sell?
There's nothing you can get for him right now. He's been
He's a
terrible.
starting running
Would you
back.
trade
He's
Jason? Would you trade
terrible.
LeGarrette Blount for him?
I wouldn't. If
I
I
would.
had the Crow, no way.
I would give up Blunt and receive Crowell.
At least the Crow touched the ball last week.
I would be trying to trade Crowell, honestly.
I like Crow still.
I'd be like, he was decent last year. He could end up doing that, and that
I
would be
believe
my
he
trade-off.
can,
Don't
though.
they play the Colts this week or no?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And you guys are gonna make fun, but the Colts have held all running backs each game to below 4 yards of carry, so he's probably gonna struggle
Well,
this week too.
Todd Gurley, who's actually had a decent year, only rushed for 40 yards against them.
2.1 with him. Like they're holding running backs like 2.5.
So Austin, is Isaiah Crowell droppable?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Good.
Okay, next
Good.
one. Below Powell, 13 carries this year for 35 yards.
Yes. Get
No.
rid of.
I say no as well.
It depends. Like if it's him or Duke Johnson, yeah, I'll keep him.
Matt Forte always fades.
Matt Forte's not doing anything already. They just don't run the ball.
He gets the carries. Matt Forte is going to, I would say, around game 5 is when you're going to see Below Powell take off.
If somebody
And I'd
dropped
rather-
him, I'd be picking him up. I would even send you a trade through. You know.
Oh, really?
Do you own him?
I am an owner of Below Powell.
LeGarrette Blount for. I'm just kidding.
I thought we were about to do a real trade here.
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Golden Tate for Below Powell?
No, I'm not trading Golden Tate.
Deal. Next one up, Thomas Rawls, Eddie Lacy. I mean,
Yes.
Eddie Lacy's obvious.
Yeah, I dropped Rawls
I
this
would
week.
think about. I would maybe hold Rawls, but I would not hold
Too
Lacey.
late.
I'm a Chris Carson believer, so I think Rawls. Anybody but Chris Carson.
That line's so bad, though. I mean, if Carson gets hurt,
Then what?
You know
Rawls
is up.
Rawls could go out there and get 3 points a game.
hey, he had a good season once upon a time.
Yeah.
Next one, Joe Mixon. 17 attempts this year for 45 yards.
I was actually sad somebody picked him up.
That whole defense, or that whole team is in disarray.
Guess who picked him up? Sitting to your right. Big
Brandon?
Boo.
No, I didn't.
I'm pretty sure you did.
I wouldn't touch
Or did-
him with
oh,
a 9.5
John-
foot pole.
John picked him up. Never mind.
I
wanted him.
I've added like one person in like 3 leagues. So
I've had like 6 people this week. I still suck.
yeah. Well, some of us don't panic. We draft well.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's your? You just got lucky with Mike Gillislee, but so droppable or not, Joe Mixon. You
No.
Oh yeah.
Nah, especially since they got rid of their offensive coordinator. He's probably has the best chance out. The other 2 are, but I would hold on to Mixon. At least a couple
Giovanni
more
Bernard,
games.
I'd maybe consider picking up in PPR leagues. 16 deep, he's definitely worth having. So
Yeah, not in like a
but
standard.
Jeremy
type
Hill,
game.
gone everywhere. Next one up, Brandon's favorite, Brandon Marshall. He has 2 catches this year for 27 yards. And I think like 3 drops or something like
Yeah,
that.
no, that he had like a 40-yard touchdown thrown to him, and he reached his hands out like in front of him, and it's got slapped down. If he just stuck his hands up, he could have caught it, and potentially won me the game. But
Cotton?
No. he
Wait, how
could've-
many fantasy points did that get you?
He could have what?
Absolutely
He could have
zero.
whatted it?
He could have caught the ball.
Oh, I thought you said cotton hit.
Like he could have caught the ball,
Okay. I'll do.
but no, he decided
Austin?
to just try to catch it like Deshaun Jackson.
I kind of think so. If there's a good option, it's
Ooh.
not one of those things that there's nobody better. It's just
I'm giving him 1 more week.
Brandon Marshall is done.
the Giants.
No, he's trash.
It's
don't
more
get me
so.
wrong.
The Giants
done.
are just so bad. I mean, you don't want anybody on that team outside of OBJ.
I don't even really want him.
They
No, obviously I'd
average
take him, but-
13 points a game.
Brandon, your
Giants.
team. Brandon Marshall starts on your team. What are you talking
No,
about?
I'm
You don't
saying
want OBJ.
If I had a good team, or if I had him, I'd try to get rid of him. That's what I'm saying. Like I wouldn't want him on my team if I had him. If I can get somebody else for him, I'd take somebody else.
You haven't dropped Brandon Marshall yet.
Well, because I can't get anything for him. What am I gonna get? A guy off the waiver wire?
Okay, I just
You get a free space open to pick up somebody else.
Almost worth it, to be honest.
Well, that's what we're debating if it is or not.
1 more week.
Next one up, Martellus Bennett, 8 catches for 90 yards. So averaging 4.5 fantasy points per game. Not great.
I'd keep him around.
Better in
Just 'cause-
PPR, but
What's his name?
I would
Just
like
went down from
Jason
injury.
Witten more this week, who we talked about.
Yeah,
I would like Jack Doyle more.
Yeah, honestly, I think Austin Hooper's still out there a little bit. I think a lot of people are going to drop him after last week's game. I think, I'd rather have Jack Doyle. I'd rather have the Bills tight end
Charles Clay.
Charles Clay.
Agreed.
There's a lot of tight ends I'd rather have. Jared Cook. I didn't like him to begin the season. I know Austin,
Nobody ever likes Jared
You
Cook.
no, Martellus Bennett.
Oh,
You were on that bandwagon.
I
You thought he was
I
gonna be
think he
decent.
might. He's one of those ones. Anytime you're on a pass-happy offense like that, there's always a chance. But
Packers don't use tight ends. Not worth it. So
well,
number
we might,
8.
we have no receivers left. Jordy and Cobb both left last game. The
you have
Geronimo
Devontae Adams.
and Geronimo Allison holding it down. Like, what'd you expect to happen?
What
Named the kid
a name.
Geronimo.
Let's take a second to appreciate Geronimo.
Okay, I took my second. You
All
guys
right.
good?
Up next, Paul Perkins. We kind of already talked about this, but 14 attempts for
Boy.
26 yards.
I dropped him already.
He's a starting running back.
Who cares?
What do you mean you dropped him already?
He was on my team. I dropped him.
You dropped a starting running back from your team?
Yeah, he's that bad.
Wow.
Your whole team's just droppable.
That's why I dropped him.
I agree. Droppable as well. I don't think we need to say much about him.
No, yeah, he's trash.
Do you have any more?
2 more.
Then go into some injury. Ask about some injury ones.
Tyler Eifert.
Oh well, yeah. Get him out of there.
Yeah.
No, heck no.
What?
His potential is the roof.
Oh, stop.
The
On the
roof.
Bengals defense? Offense?
Yeah, didn't you just say new offensive coordinator?
Well,
That's why you're holding on to Joe Mixon?
Well, yeah, but I'd be a
I
little
think
more
Tyler
excited
Eifert
about.
Has more potential than Joe Mixon.
I would at least like to see AJ Green become a number 2 receiver before then.
Tyler Eifert's going to vulture some touchdowns.
What touchdowns?
I'm holding on.
Have they scored?
They have 0 touchdowns on the year.
Yeah, what touchdown he's going to take?
I'm just saying, I wouldn't drop him. I like Tyler Eifert.
I don't think anybody would pick him up. You might just be able to
I would
toss
pick
him
him
there
up.
for.
He's still held in one of our leagues, and I would pick him up if that person.
You gonna roster 4 tight ends over there?
I would have.
You can have Charles Clay. And
I only have 1 tight end. I would have
Austin Hooper, and
I would take Tyler Eifert over those 2.
Okay.
Well, that's not saying a ton.
Well, in fairness, no, but
Okay, last one I have Dante Moncrief.
drop.
I wouldn't want him.
3
T.Y.
catches,
Hilton's been
68
trash.
yards.
And he's way better than
Is
Moncrief.
T.Y. Hilton droppable?
No, he is not.
Andrew Luck.
I've actually been
What about
debating
him?
dropping him because I have
Oh.
him in 3 leagues. It's just
He's already been declared out for week 3.
I know that I wish they would have said October was the potential time frame back before I drafted him, but
Obviously.
So
I-
that's potential time frame.
I guess
so that
you
doesn't even mean
you
for
have
sure.
to hold him. The run game is terrible.
I don't know. I'm not convinced they would even be good when he comes back.
I
so.
don't think they will be, but I think it'll be like the thing they're always going to be down because I don't think their defense is good. Their run game is non-existent. They're going to have to throw all the time.
I'm dropping him.
Ooh, really?
I'm dropping him.
So if I dropped him right now, nobody pick him up.
Somebody would pick him up in our league, but I wouldn't pick him up.
Oh, even since you have Cam Newton.
I am.
I'm not even trying to roast.
Cam Newton is scoring more points right now than Andrew
You
Luck
feel
is.
better, though, having
That's
Cam Newton than taking a flyer on Luck.
I picked up Carson Wentz this week, so I would be more comfortable having Carson Wentz for the rest of the season than Andrew Luck.
I was actually kind of sad you picked him up. I didn't want to play Mariota this week against Denver.
Good luck with that.
Or whoever. I'm sorry, I don't know if he plays Denver. He plays somebody pretty good.
So, did you have somebody else you wanted to mention, injury prone that
Danny Woodhead, especially in PPR.
wow.
his date for return is week 11, so I'm dropping him. Getting
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a
I
tough
don't want
one.
anything to do with him.
Oh, really? See, I haven't dropped him in the league I have him, and it's a PPR league. I just feel like when
PPR monster, but it's not even guaranteed he could keep the job. He's proven he consistently gets injured. I mean, Buck Allen. If you could get Buck Allen, I would
Oh, yeah.
rather have Buck Allen.
Most definitely.
yeah, but when Woodhead comes back, Buck Allen won't be anything.
That's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed Danny Woodhead wins the job. It's not guaranteed he comes back in week 11.
He won the job.
It's not guaranteed he comes back, though. I mean, he won the job in practice.
He was looking good though.
I mean, so is Buck Allen. I just don't.
Ravens are going to be the most bogus 3-0 team in the league, but
They really are. Every year.
Well,
it
that's
seems
what they
this
were
way.
last year. They were beating up
it's
on
Joe Flacco,
bad teams.
elite.
Their defense is actually not that bad. So we will move on to our next section after a quick. So our next section is worried. Basically, I'm just going to read off players, specifically superstar players or higher drafted players, and we're just going to say if we are worried about having them and what we would do if we are worried about having
I'm
them.
just going to give one-word responses.
All right.
Yelled very loudly.
Please turn down your music. Turn down your headphones. Sorry. First one up, DeMarco Murray, 21 attempts, 69 yards, and
Worried.
Panicked.
his backup, Derrick Henry, 20 attempts, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. So way outperforming him.
Panicked. And he's also has a hamstring injury.
So
Henry's got the job by the end of the season.
Did you see the tweet yesterday somebody put out about Derrick Henry's high school stats?
What about
why
him?
do I care about his high school stats?
Because I almost died when I saw them.
Are they better than Willie McGuffey?
You mean Sam McGuffey?
I think it's Willie McGuffey.
No, it's Sam.
Dang it. Sam McGuffey.
Yeah, hang on. I'm just pulling this up real quick. This dude's senior stats were incredible. I went and watched his highlights from his senior year too. The dude is so tall. Like he made everybody on the field look small. He was the fastest guy too.
Oh, he's a pretty big dude.
So this dude, okay, he averaged 9.2 yards a carry with almost 4,300 yards. This is one season.
That it?
He averaged 328 yards a game,
Oh,
and he had is that 55 touchdowns. And I was watching his high school tape. I mean, like one of the places he was playing at had like sponsorships on the side of the field. Like he's playing at like real places.
I mean, high schools
Sounds
have
all right.
sponsorships.
No, I know, but I mean, it wasn't like he went to some
Still,
like
if a high school has a sponsorship, it's probably a pretty good.
they had
team.
like sponsors on the side of the field. It wasn't like some like one man or 1A thing.
was trying to find Sam McGuffey's high school stats, but I'm pretty sure he would have been.
Not
I think
nearly
he
as
had like
good.
60 touchdowns
That it?
in a year.
He went to big school too.
He went to Michigan and then left and went to Rice.
Rutgers. Oh, what I think? No, you're right.
Rice.
I don't know why I was thinking
He wanted to
Rutgers.
stay in. He wanted to go back to Texas. So anyway, move on to DeMarco Murray. Since you guys are worried, what would you do with him? Are you holding
I
on
would
to
try
him?
to trade him to some sort of sucker out
Are
there.
you trying to get rid of him? Are you trying to acquire Derrick Henry?
Oh, Derrick Henry.
Oh, you should already have Derrick Henry. And I would say if you do have Derrick Henry, then you should be fine.
What is Derrick Henry's potential? I guess
Very high.
Whatever DeMarco Murray can do and probably more.
top 5 back.
Oh yeah. They give the
Wise, yeah.
they give the running backs a lot of work. Derrick Henry's a big man.
What is he? 6'2", 240.
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
he
he's
is.
6'3".
I mean, he's averaging like 6-7 yards a carry.
He's a monster, and I'm glad I
Yeah.
picked him up. Or I'm glad I
Oh,
reached for him and drafted him.
6'3", 240. That was his high school weight
Dang.
as,
He weighed
as a
6'3".
senior. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Tonight, go home and watch the tape. He's literally like a head taller than everybody on the field, and it's really weird.
I'm already at home.
Oh, whatever.
Who's next?
Brandon Cooks, 5 receptions, 125 yards.
No.
So hasn't had more than 3 receptions in his first 2 games.
Not panicked.
Oh yeah, one word.
I watched him.
No.
No. I watched him week 1, and there was I think 3 or 4 pass interference
Yeah,
called
he's
on him.
drawing a lot of pass
Like,
interference.
There was one he would have easily had a touchdown. The guy just pulled him down. So he's fine. It's just defenses don't want to give him anything easy, which I mean might transition throughout the season, but he himself is getting it done.
I passed on drafting him. I'm glad I did. I didn't want him. I let the fool who had him the first 2 years before, or the previous 2 years before, take him. The producer, the Eisner, Seth Hansen.
What a clown.
I didn't want any shares of him, and I'm glad I didn't take him. He's going to consistently get pulled down or pass interference against, and
You can't say
That's
that.
everybody though.
that's what just keeps happening.
Well,
And
why
he's-
doesn't
he's
every
not-
why
he's
doesn't
not-
every receiver in the league? Why isn't that your counter argument
because
against
the other receivers are
aren't as good
better
at
or
off.
bigger receivers can get.
I would think the
I mean,
argument
AJ
that you'd want to make is that he's way faster. He's really fast.
Speed doesn't matter when you're getting pulled.
Well, yeah, but you'd get pulled because you're
You'd
beating
be
him off the
beat.
line.
He's
Right,
getting penalized,
But
'cause
it
he's
doesn't
good.
matter.
No, I'm saying that. I don't know.
AJ Green and Mike Evans get pulled all the time, but they still come down with the ball. So I mean,
He
but
was
they're-
like straight up tackle.
They're not beating
week
people
1.
on speed as much though. They're just huge.
Mike Evans runs a 4.4. I'm sure he's beating people with speed. Yeah, I got you there. So
Brandon Cooks runs a 3.8.
I would be
No, he
trying.
doesn't.
Okay. I'm worried about him. I didn't want him, so I was already worried.
I don't know if worried's the right word. I'm like-
Concerned, maybe. It's
No,
nah,
I just
that's
think we've
not-
identified his floor might be lower than we were thinking.
So you both are holding on to him.
Well,
you're
I
not
think
gonna do
everybody.
anything
I
with
think
him.
the thing was everybody thought he was going to score like 20 a game, or was going to or
20 a
frequently
game. I
getting
mean-
it.
Yeah,
You know what I
this is
mean?
like
Though
the worst he'll do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think we all thought he was going to be better. It's not like he's been bad. We just thought he was going to be better.
I mean, 4 points a game. That's Isaiah Crowell, who is potentially
Well,
droppable.
in
We were
fairness,
thinking
not
about droppable.
Adrian Peterson's
It's
droppable.
2 games.
Crow is
He's
not.
on a new team. The Patriots were clearly rattled in week 1. I think it's not enough
Which is
time. Not a big
Ironically,
enough
the
sample
game he
size.
performed the best.
All right, we'll bring this segment back and have him on it.
Oh, I would love if you brought it back.
All right. Next one up, Michael Thomas. 10 receptions for the year, 134 yards.
I'd be concerned about his lack of red zone work.
Austin, you're an owner right now. What are you thinking about him?
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but I think it's just a matter of time before he gets back to going again.
Agreed.
I'm not overly. I mean, he's still getting 5 receptions. I mean, that's not average. That's not terrible.
I thought you were gonna yell into the mic whether you.
Well, I forgot. That was like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
I'm
not worried as well. Brandon's not worried. Or you
Not
were
really.
concerned about red zone targets, but not.
But yeah, I mean those will come. I'd like to think because they're obviously not running it in there.
The Saints haven't scored that many points either.
No.
Next one up, Odell Beckham Jr. has an ankle injury that he's currently nursing, and then I had just a note: Giants are averaging 13 points a game.
I am beyond worried with him.
No.
The offensive line is so awful where there's no running game, which hurts him. Eli is struggling because of it, which isn't his fault, but he is, which hurts him. And the fact that they're not scoring points, they're not getting passing yards. I mean,
Yeah, but a lot of his points come on quick slants and stuff like that. So
Still-
you don't need a lot of time in the pocket to throw a slant.
still,
And
it's
he can get a lot of points after the catch.
And honestly, I think any it's kind of clear to see that Eli's mobility is so poor back there that they need to do whatever they can to get the ball out as fast as they can.
He was dodging a bunch of people last week.
Oh, please. Eli Manning is like one of the clearly top 5.
Could you beat Brandon? Could you beat Eli Manning in a 40-yard dash?
Eli, no. His older brother, yeah. His older brother, I could.
No!
What, when he was 40?
He runs like a stick figure.
So I am not worried about Odell Beckham Jr. I'm going to tweet out something probably this week that basically just
Actually, a bold prediction.
consistently
For later in the
it's
show.
going to show which players start out slow, like for instance Russell Wilson, and which players start out fast and die off. And that like Phillip Rivers, he's a first half of the season warrior and just completely drops off. So I'll hopefully tweet that out, but I think Odell Beckham Jr. is a consistent slow starter. Trade for him now if you can get him, especially after last game. Next up, Doug Baldwin, 10 receptions, 107 yards.
I'd say worried just because the lack of passing from Wilson right now. He struggled last season. He's struggling again this season.
Yeah, but he usually struggles early. I'm not all that concerned.
I'm not concerned either. Try and find that tweet real quick.
The offensive line, though, is looking – it's so bad that it's getting to a ridiculous point.
But that's the thing. It's going to stay bad. It's not like these people who are 30 years old are going to finally remember how to block.
Retweeted it on the Frontline Fantasy Football account, Frontline FF. Go ahead and give it a follow. Russell Wilson's per-game average by month since 2014. In September, he averages 16.3 fantasy points. In October, 18.9. November, 21.7. And December, 24.2. So it consistently gets better. And we got 3 years of body work to...
Still, I mean, he averages 16. And this season, through 2 games, he's only averaging 11. So he's still way behind pace.
Well, he could easily have a good game. I mean,
I'm still worried he's going to get hurt with that, how bad that line is.
So what are we doing? We're worried. You keeping him? You holding on to him?
I would keep him.
I keep him. I'm worried.
I definitely don't drop him.
If somebody offers you a decent trade, you're taking it.
Probably. Because it all depends on what
I
decent is.
guess.
I wouldn't, just because of those stats. The back of the season, he's going to perform. Next one up, Jimmy Graham. I should ask, is he droppable? After reading his stats, 4 receptions, 9 yards, and has an ankle injury.
It sucks because there's so many lousy tight ends.
Seth has Jimmy Graham, so yeah.
I'd probably keep him just for the potential.
You suck, you jackass.
Seth, this is a family show.
Wow.
But if you
suck, you jackass.
if
Okay.
you dropped him, though, would anybody even pick him up? That's always another thing to think about because you could just pick him up later.
No!
His potential is so high that
Is it, though?
I would have to pick him up.
When was the last time he had a good year?
Last year.
Last year he was all right to finish the year. I had him. He finished as like a top 5 tight end. So, I mean,
I guess
if Russell Wilson gets better, you'd think his receivers would get better.
No, yeah, that's fair. They just need to get that O-line figured out.
Cam Newton, averaging 12.4 fantasy points per game.
You are one pathetic loser.
He's not looking good.
Yeah, I'm worried.
Yeah,
That's why I picked up Carson
He was
Wentz.
bad last year, and he's bad this year.
Worried.
They're not letting him run.
Worried.
Too. Worried. I am worried.
Worried.
Everybody's worried. Enough said about him.
We've
Number
said too much about him.
8, Terrell Pryor, 8 receptions, 97 yards.
No, that offense has looked terrible as a whole. There's no way they're going to be that terrible throughout the rest of the season.
Austin?
Fine. He's fine. I'm keeping him.
Just fine.
I'm holding on to him.
Number 9, Christian McCaffrey. Has a total of 10.9 fantasy points this year. Jonathan Stewart has 18.2.
Oh, yeah. I'm most definitely worried about it. I didn't like him at the start of the season, and he still doesn't look good now. I mean, obviously, I feel like he'll go up, but at that, I mean, I sure hope he would.
I think the only way you're worried is if you drafted him, you most likely got him in the 4th round.
Yeah, third
See,
or
the
fourth.
thing is he's overdrafted.
Yeah, so it's...
So that's why you should be worried. It's
I'm not worried because he's what he should be. I think everybody just had really heightened expectation,
I agree.
if that makes sense.
Because he probably should have been picked in the 8th round, and if you picked him in the 8th round, you probably wouldn't be too worried.
Correct. All right. Next one.
That was
Last one.
great insight.
Thank you.
I hear sarcasm. Next one, Jordan Reed.
Kiss my butt.
11 receptions, 84
Yeah,
yards.
well, Seth.
Jordan Reed.
Not really. I mean,
Like Brandon said, Redskins have been terrible.
Yeah, and he's getting about 6 catches a game, which is encouraging. No matter how, regardless of how little he's doing with them, he's still getting them.
His targets were way up as well.
Yeah.
So that is our worried section. Let's move on to our week 2 bold predictions. Seth, hit us with some music.
Bold predictions.
Do you guys want to do like last week and say our week 3 bold predictions and then review last week's, or
Okay.
flip it?
I want to hear last week's first.
Last week's first.
Ooh.
Okay, so
Sounds like some good anime music.
first one up, Austin. Week 2. Wasn't really a bold pick, but
It was too.
Devontae Adams will score 12 or more fantasy points.
hadn't
He was
done
projected
anything.
12.
Yeah,
He hadn't done anything
Projected
prior.
Projected
12.
12.
He didn't do
He didn't do anything
Randall
in 1
Cobb and
week.
Jordy Nelson had all the work.
He did what the experts expected him to do.
He scored 15.9, so Austin obviously got it correct, but it's not really a bold prediction. So I'll probably put up the totals, and I will not count that
What?
one.
Oh,
I
come
agree.
on.
I
That was
agree.
a BS one.
That was not BS.
Yeah, it was a BS one. You picked him to get his projection. That's not bold at all.
He's done. How many points did he have week 1? He didn't do anything week 1.
1 week. Who cares?
Who was all thinking Devontae Adams was going to be a number 1
You
receiver
did.
anyway?
Not a number 1 receiver, but you thought he was going to be good. I thought he was going to be good.
So you're telling me if a number, it's not
At the beginning
it's
of the
not
season,
bold
you
to say
thought he was going to have
you're
1,000
telling
yards
me
and 12
it's
touchdowns.
not bold to say that a number 2 or 3 receiver is going to have over 12 points
So
in
wait,
a given
wait.
week.
He's a number 2
So
receiver.
you're saying J.J. Nelson is averaging 14 points a week, but his projection is 8. If I say bold prediction, he gets 9. Is that a bold prediction? He's underperforming.
I wasn't
according to
looking at the projections when I said it. I didn't know what he was projected. Plus, everybody knows ESPN always projects high.
It won't count. That's we're going to move on to
I
Brandon's
think we should
first
put
one.
it to a vote. On the
All right.
the fans should decide.
No, let's
fans
let's
should
do a
decide.
podcast vote. Seth, do you think it should count or not?
Yes.
Seth says yes.
I
No.
say
Brandon
yes.
says
No.
Jonathan's
no.
gonna.
I
Austin's
say
gonna
no.
vote.
So Jonathan's going to be the
All right.
tiebreaker.
Jonathan can decide when in our next podcast. So Brandon's first one, Adrian Peterson will not be a top 30 back, and he was correct. He's a 54th best
If
back
I'm going to
in
get
week 2.
roasted on not bold
Top
predictions,
30.
30? That's pretty deep.
that's every starting running back.
You picked a
Times
wide
2.
receiver to get his projection.
Adrian Peterson had 9. He was on the field 9 plays week 1.
Well, that's
So?
a heck of a prediction
He
by
was
Brandon.
projected like 10.
This is
He was
unbelievable.
projected 10.
I say that does not count. If you would have said he's
He's
not a
owned,
top,
he's
All
owned
right.
by 99%.
if you would have
of
said
leagues
he's not a
are
top
players.
All right,
50,
let's take it to a vote. Brandon does it count?
Yes.
I say it
Counts.
counts. Seth says no.
That's just being difficult.
All right,
it
Jonathan.
should not top 30.
Somebody owned in 99% of leagues should perform better than a
So-
30th position.
No, but after week 1, everybody had.
Let's move on.
Oh my goodness.
Number 3. Oh, no. We'll move on to my first one. Isaiah Crowell will be a top 10 running back, and I was incorrect. He had like 3 points,
That's rough.
making him the 49th best running back in fantasy football.
3.7.
Jonathan's first prediction, Todd Gurley will finish outside of the top 10. That would be incorrect. He was the second best running back in week 2.
That's rough.
We'll move on to the second prediction by each of us. Austin's second prediction, the Bills will beat the Panthers.
That didn't.
I mean, not super bold. Not really a fantasy
That
prediction.
should have happened.
Panthers won 9-3. So
Man,
I was
I'm
They
Owen.
dropped the ball.
I'm 0-2 on those, but the Bills should have won.
Yeah, they dropped it.
yeah, Zay Jones with the drop at the very end.
Thanks, Zay.
Brandon's
Appreciate it.
second one, which we won't be able to know until the end of the season. Adrian Peterson will not end the season with the Saints. So we'll move on to his third one. Des Bryant will not score a touchdown. That was incorrect.
Got the ball thrown at him 30 times. I hope we catch one. Goodness sakes.
My second one, Young Ho Koo will score more points than Le'Veon Bell.
He missed more
which
game
would
winners
ha-
than.
would have been an excellent prediction, but Koo went. Bell had 9 points, 9.1 to be exact. Koo went 1 for 3 from his field goals, 2 for 3 on extra points, so he ended with 4 points.
Come on,
Pathetic.
Young Ho. Get it together.
Could have won me a board bet. Jonathan's second one, Ty Montgomery will be a top 7 running back. That's a bold prediction, and he was the third best
I'm
running
getting
back.
sick and tired of him getting points. Dude's garbage, but
Is he
yes,
the
he's-
third best running back?
He's getting like 3 yards a carry and somehow coming out there with 30 points a week. It's disgusting.
Disgusting.
It's disgusting.
So let's move to our week 3 bold predictions.
Ooh, I'm looking to smooth. This is
What do
Brandon.
you think, Brandon? Do you think Michael Crabtree gonna have 3 touchdowns again next week?
No. Okay, bold prediction. Number 1. Brandon Marshall catches 2 passes.
No, that's not a bold prediction.
No, I'm just clowning him. Let's see. Bold prediction. Odell Beckham Jr. is not a top 10 receiver this week.
He hasn't been a top 10 receiver. If I'm
I
gonna
mean,
get blasted for my pick,
yeah.
He was drafted number 2. Fine,
I
top
need-
15.
I need
not
out,
top 15.
out of top 20.
No. So you're
Dude's
saying,
going on a bum ankle playing 80%.
yeah, 80% Odell Beckham should still be a top 10. So I'll say top 15.
Whatever. We'll go with it. Austin, your first one.
Tariq Cohen is the top 7 fantasy running back this week.
Thank you.
That's very
Thank you. That's
bold.
a bold one.
Very bold.
It'll be way off, but that is a bold one. My first prediction, Sammy Watkins will finally score a touchdown this week.
Is that really bold?
He hasn't really gotten any catches.
You guys think that's bold?
That's bold. Considering what I did last week, Young Ho Koo will score more than Le'Veon. I think I deserve to step it back a little bit. Brandon, oh wait, Jonathan. I got to read Jonathan's. He sent me
them
his.
in via the mail.
Number 1 for Jonathan, Devontae Parker will be a top 15 wide receiver this week. So
I'm questioning the boldness. That's like a normal bag of checks mix right there.
It's not
They just
bold.
stamp bold on the front
Devontae
of.
Parker's never been a top 15 wide receiver in his life.
Actually, that is not factually correct, but
That it. Was he one last week?
I'm sure in one week of his career, he's.
It would have been last week, if any week. So, Brandon, your second one.
I say that Kirk Cousins is a top 3 quarterback this week. Considering he's ranked number 23, I feel like that's bold enough.
I like it. Let's see where in my weekly rankings on Frontline, fantasyfootball.com.
I got a couple good ones over here.
Ooh, a couple good ones.
Yeah.
If it would load.
Got as many as you need.
Oh, it's not loading. So, Austin, go ahead and move on.
Andy Dalton throws 3 touchdowns this week.
That's not bold. 3
Don't
touchdowns.
that is
Andy
bold.
Dalton, they haven't scored a touchdown yet.
That's
Three
Very,
touchdowns. That's
very
asking
bold
nothing.
Bold prediction. Extremely bold prediction.
How
3
many
touchdowns for Andy Dalton after 2 weeks of not scoring.
a bold prediction.
Thank you. He's going to triple his 2 versus 2.
It's more than triple because he has 0.
Bold prediction. Jack Doyle, top 4 tight end for this week.
Oh, my goodness. After not giving a bold prediction last week, you give 3 this week.
I know, and I didn't even have any coming in.
Bold
so.
prediction. Derrick Henry is the starter by the end of the season.
Stop doing these by the end of the season.
Well,
Bets.
I only
He's
needed
already
2.
hurt.
Derrick Henry?
No. The starter,
DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray's already hurt. You can't
No,
say
no,
that
no.
now.
He isn't starting because of injury. He's starting because he's better.
Well, what if he's hurt the whole year?
Well, then it just gets negated.
No.
All right, I'm just gonna.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make anybody mad.
Frank Gore will be a top 12 running back this week. That's
Frank Gore,
what. What are you looking at me for?
They
What?
played in the Browns.
Yeah,
That's hardly bold.
why do you got to disrespect Frank like that?
He's ranked to be the 20th best.
I'll give you that one. I'll give it to you.
The dude's 34.
You can have that one.
He's a machine.
Well, James Harrison's 40, and look at him. He's putting up numbers in that gym.
Oh, okay, he's the number
Oh,
24
yeah, how many
overall.
touchdowns has he scored?
James Harrison?
Yeah, none.
I mean, he gets
That's
like
what I thought.
7 snaps a game.
Jonathan, second bold prediction: Derrick Henry will be a top 15 running back.
I don't find that very bold.
If DeMarco Murray plays, that's bold. But if not, yeah, he might have to think of a new one. So that is our bold prediction section. We can move on to a new section we're going to call Real Meal or Fake Veal.
I don't even know what that means.
That's the worst.
In the podcast notes, you had it real meal or fake meal. So I was very confused.
Well, you know what? On my script, I have it correct.
How about
So
For the listeners, can you please
real
explain
meal or
this
bad
segment?
deal or something? I don't like that.
I don't even know
I
what
was
veal
sticking
means.
with the veal. It's cow.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I looked it up, so I didn't want to feel like a fool. So
What, you looked up like words that rhyme with meal?
No, I looked up what veal meant.
What about seal? Can we use seal instead?
Real meal or fake seal?
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense.
You
Neither
can eat a
does
seal.
veal.
So, real meal or fake veal?
Or bad deal.
Essentially, I'm just going to read off players that have done good in the first 2 games, and I want you guys to say if you think that they're going to do, if
Real
they're
quick,
going to continue
Ty
this
Montgomery
pattern,
better be on there.
and what you're going to do with them.
Can I ask what the best meal you've had lately was?
The best meal
What's
I've
the
had
realest
lately.
meal you've had lately?
We did chicken mashed potatoes, garlic mashed potatoes, and green beans. That was pretty fire.
Was that about as real as it gets?
What's the
Yeah.
fakest veal
That
you've
was-
had in a while?
Fakest veal?
McDonald's.
Oh man, I haven't had McDonald's in forever.
McDonald's not. They're the 2 for $5 on the Big Mac right now.
I cooked a steak on my George Foreman grill, and
Ah.
it totally ruined
What
it.
kind of steak was it? If it had a lot of fat, then you ruined it. But if it was like a,
It didn't have a
ruins them
ton
all.
of fat,
It
but
ruins them all.
if it was like a sirloin tip, then you were just boned either way.
it didn't cook it nice. It wasn't looking good. I think it was a pork chop.
Whoa, what? Wait,
It's,
what?
it's not a veal.
we went from a steak to a pork chop.
Or, whatever. I'm
Sirloin tip, perhaps.
no.
A flank steak.
Oh, the round
You know what?
steak.
I'll think of it when we're done with this podcast. But
Alright.
anyway, so first one up. Just a player thanks for that, Seth. Player you think if they're going to continue this pattern, and whether you would trade high, keep them. Yeah. So first one up. Don't shake your head at me. Seth.
First one up.
Mike Gillisley. Had
No.
22.5 points the first game.
He's the real deal.
12.9.
You're
That's
ugly,
not this.
and you're ugly, and your mother ugly, and your sister ugly. You're just plain old ugly.
But he could play football. 12.9 in the second game. Currently running back number 5.
No.
Is he
He's the
real?
real. He ain't no fake seal.
He's fake veal.
He's the real deal.
fake
real
veal.
meal or fake veal?
He's a
Austin?
fake
Stick to the
veal.
song.
Real deal. He's no fake
All right.
seal.
Brandon, go.
He's a fake veal. A fake squeal. He's literally the worst. He's on track. He's on track for like 800 yards and 32 touchdowns. Do we really think that's going to continue?
I mean,
32
half of me
touchdowns
wouldn't be
and
surprised.
800 yards.
It's just 2 touchdowns a game.
Counter argument, Austin.
LeGarrette Blount had 18 and 1,000 yards
18
last year.
and 32
and he's
are
clearly
very different
exactly
things.
what LeGarrette Blount is. And just based on raw talent, Gillisley's better than Blount. So
That's fair. If I had to choose a side, I would say
Blount had over 1,000 yards and 18 touchdowns
This
last
dude
year.
can't even get 1,000 yards at this point.
I'm kind of in the middle
He's
of you
not
guys.
getting as many
Fake
carries.
veal, dude.
He is not a fake seal.
He is fake veal.
Real deal.
I would go fake veal. I'd be with Brandon
Fake
on this
deal.
one.
Thank you very much.
I'm trading high right now.
Exactly. Actually get something for him.
I'm
Austin,
not.
you're holding him.
What happens when he gets a touchdown? He'll end up with 3 points.
Oh yeah,
at
just like
best.
what happens when Jordan Howard? Oh wait, yeah. What happens when David? Oh wait.
There's no debating that Jordan Howard's not, or,
Oh.
I'm sorry, that
Oh,
David
wait a
Johnson's
second.
going to do something on
Mike
the IR.
Gillisley's outscored both your running backs.
Because they're both hurt.
Okay.
Oh, he also has more points than Jay Ajayi right now because Jay Ajayi didn't play a game.
You did it?
Yeah, he's rated the 33rd best running back.
What
Do you think
happened last time?
the Hurricane?
It's been a hurricane for 2 weeks.
He's only played 1 game.
It's week 3.
So
Austin,
we've
week
only
3
played
hasn't
2
happened
games.
yet.
There's only been 2
How
weeks
hasn't
of
he played a
football.
game?
There was
He's
a
played
Hurricane
1
week
game.
1.
So he's played 1 game.
Yes.
Yeah, he hasn't played a game at week 1.
He played a game.
He's played
He has
1
played
game.
1.
You guys are arguing the same thing.
You're an idiot.
So he's the
He didn't
30
play week 1. He played week 2,
I don't
and
get
he's
what-
going to play
he's
week 3.
33rd in points. Do you think Jay Ajayi is 33rd in points?
Yeah.
Right? No, do you think he's 33rd best running back?
You look at averages.
He might be.
No.
Up next, Kareem Hunt, 40.6 points first game, 22.9. Currently
Oh.
running back number 1.
He's the real deal.
He'll end number
Real
1.
meal or fake veal?
He's the real deal.
Real
He's
meal.
the real
you're saying.
veal, dude. He'll
Wait, no, you said
He'll-
real veal?
he'll be he's the real deal.
He's a real
He'll be-
fake.
He's the number 1 running back overall. He'll still probably end that, but he won't end in at the same points that he's doing now. He's averaging like 30 a game. So that's why I say real veal, because technically he'll do worse than this.
You
but
can't.
he'll
That's
still
not an
be-
option.
He'll still be number 1.
He's the real deal.
He's solid, but he won't be this good.
Real meal. All right, up next, Zach Ertz, 9.3 points in the first game, 9.7
Real
in the
deal,
second
baby.
game.
Real deal.
Currently, tight end number 7.
Who else do they throw
Real
into?
deal.
Real meal.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Real deal.
Thank you. Perfect sound effect.
What do you think, Jason?
I think he's a real meal.
You about did it. Why is this?
Okay.
I keep thinking fake meal because of that stupid thing you sent me earlier with the typo.
You're an idiot.
Anyway, real meal. He's going to get the targets. Carson Wentz has thrown for over 300 yards in both of his first
So
games.
you're going to be eating up Zach Ertz every week.
Zach Ertz, not Hurts.
Speaking of Carson Wentz, he's our next one. 18.8 points in the first game, 24.7. Like I said, thrown for over 300 yards in both of the games played this year. Currently, quarterback number 3.
He's counterfeit seal. He's in the middle.
He's looks strangely competent.
I think he's the
It's the thing. I think he'll be good, but I don't think he'll be number 3 overall good. So is that a real meal or?
Where would you see him?
It's counterfeit. It's counterfeit seal. It's in the middle.
He's the real meal. He's going to be a top 10 quarterback. Pick him up if he's
For
on
the rest of the
waiver
year?
wire.
I can't even
Yes.
do this.
for the rest of the year.
Oh, is that a bet?
I think
You don't think he will be?
He'll end a top 10 quarterback, I think, but
Austin, you want to take a bet with Brandon and I?
No.
who
Yeah.
named this?
Coward. All right, up next, number 5, Trevor Siemian, 22.5 points, 22.6 points in the second game, thrown for 6 passing touchdowns. Currently, quarterback number 2.
I'm gonna surprise.
Veal.
I'm gonna surprise
Fake Veal.
everybody, and I'm gonna say real deal.
Fake Veal.
Real deal. That's not one of the options.
Real
Real meal.
Fake Veal.
Fake veal. I agree with Brandon as well.
Absolutely.
Austin, why is he real meal?
Well, I mean,
Well-
he hasn't done anything that I just think what he's doing is fairly sustainable. He's got good receivers. He's got a decent O-line. Got a good running game. I just don't see any reason he can't keep it up.
Fake Veal.
Why?
Me?
Why is he fake veal?
Well, first off, let's not forget how awful he was last year. And I know it's a new year, but second off, they are dismantling teams. And they're not that good. They're clearly outperforming
I
themselves.
actually disagree.
You
I think the Broncos are for
you
real.
think the Broncos are 35 points better than the Cowboys? That's coming from a Cowboy hater.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I
No.
mean, they just did it, so yeah.
Anomaly.
I think if they played again, Dallas would lose again.
Or maybe lose, but be
I
a much
agree.
closer game.
I think the Broncos are probably a top 8 team. I used
So
to
are the
before the
Cowboys.
season. I didn't think they were.
Their defense is so good.
Their offense is good enough. Yeah, they're. I don't know.
And you also said they have a strong run game. A
So
lot of times
you-
that hurts
They're
a
what
quarterback.
Seattle
Would you
should
like
be.
to make a bet that Trevor Siemian ends in the top 10?
At the end of the year,
Yeah.
I would say I'll give him top 13. I don't want to go 10.
I'm not giving that. No.
So you think he's not? You think he's top 13?
I don't think he's going to be a top 13
Well, top
quarterback.
13. That's still
No, he's not. There's no way.
a fake veal. I give top 13 be fake veal.
So we doing that, Jason? Is that a bet?
I'll take that bet.
Ooh.
Trevor Siemian will not be a top 13.
On a points per game basis?
What if
Yes.
he lands at 13?
That is a push. Next one up.
Wait,
Brand-
13 would be top 13, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if he lands 13,
Because
then
top 5, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So top.
I don't
13
think he
means
will be top 13. So
Okay.
Austin would win
Austin
that
at
one.
13. Okay.
Number 6, J.J. Nelson, 10.3 points and 18 in the second game. Currently wide receiver number 2. He is one of 5 receivers to have at least
or more?
8 or more in the first 2
I'm going
weeks.
counterfeit seal.
I'd say.
Right in the middle.
Austin says fake veal.
I'd say
I said
real,
middle. It's in the
real
middle.
meal until David Johnson comes back, and then he'll regress.
which is not till week 16.
exactly. So for a really
Brandon's
till
buffering.
16.
Week 16.
Where did you hear this?
They were saying
A
around
long
Christmas.
time ago. So if you have David Johnson, you can drop him unless you think you're going to
Wow.
What?
I don't know if I drop him.
This is news. They said 8 to 12 weeks.
I don't
Last
want
time
to
I
waste a waiver wire. Or I
Yeah,
don't
but
want to waste
12
an extra
weeks.
spot.
You add 1 week to the injury. I mean, that's technically.
If
what,
you
got hurt
have
week 2, right?
David Johnson, you're
Or is
not
it
going to make
week-
the
no, week
playoffs. Let's just be honest. You just lost your number 1 player.
The number 1 player, not your number 1 player.
Actually,
the
he did not go
one.
number 1 in our draft.
No!
He should have.
No!
And I got hosed because of it.
No!
I'm just saying, I would drop him. I mean, especially you're in the situation where you lost your best player. You're going to need something else.
I need a new meal, not a veal.
J.J. Nelson, real meal, fake veal. Austin says
Counterfeit seal.
I'm not even sure what that even
means
means.
it's in the middle.
between.
How is a counterfeit seal
I
in the middle of a
Because
real
it's real
meal?
deal or
Counterfeit's negative, seal's positive.
no? It's
How is a seal positive?
no because based on the original your title, it was real deal or fake seal, and so I went counterfeit seal.
So counterfeit means fake. So that's a no. It's a thumbs down.
Thank you for defining counterfeit for me. I
Thumbs
didn't
down.
know
Well,
my whole life without knowing what that
It's
meant.
a
I
thumbs
don't
down.
get where the seal comes in.
It's because it
it's
was
Austin. He's
it was real
dumb.
deal or fake seal.
It never was. But
Continuing.
anyway, so J.J. Nelson, you're in the middle. I think he's going to be the real meal this year.
Ooh, the real meal.
I think John Brown's not going to come back from his injury
Yeah, but
strong. He's always going to have that hamstring problem. And J.J. Nelson is fast and is going to scoop up all of his targets.
Seth, why are you using Windows drops over there?
It's probably the battery reminder.
Anyway, number 7, Keenan Allen, 9.5.
Oh,
First week.
he's
And
the real.
10.
Oh, he's the real, deal.
meal.
I'm eating me some Keenan Allen every
Wide
week.
receiver number 13 currently.
Real meal.
Ton of targets. I think.
He hasn't even got a touchdown. He's
Real
still top
meal.
15.
Yeah, stud.
Real.
And then my 8th one I have is Chris Thompson,
Fake
11.6 points,
Fake.
22.6.
Fake seal.
Fake.
Currently running back number 6.
Fake.
Fake seal.
He's done it on 6 carries. Look
Fake
at him.
Veal.
Fake. He's
Austin's
third in
going
the depth
seal.
chart for a
Fake
reason.
seal.
Is that in between then?
No,
No,
that's
it's
counterfeit.
It's negative.
Thumbs down.
I agree with you guys. So that will be real meal or fake veal. I think this was a pretty popular segment, so gonna have to bring this one back.
You know what else is a really popular thing?
I'm afraid to say what.
The Burger King Fruity Pebble Shake that
It's
I had
actually-
yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
I'm sorry. It was Fruit Loops. I'm sorry. It was so good.
Sounds disgusting.
It's actually excellent.
It's like drinking Fruit Loops and
Cereal.
ice cream. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, I guess if you're a fan of Fruity Pebbles or whatever, I'd.
Well, thank you,
Austin, Take
Jason.
it away.
Yeah, and so I thought we had a pretty positive week last week. First week went pretty good as well. So this week, I
Can you
actually
review last week's?
yeah. Let me pull it up real quick here. Yeah, I don't unfortunately have these memorized.
I can. I have it right here. Carson Palmer at quarterback.
He actually
Bold.
finished pretty solid for where I picked him up
That's
because he
bold.
was a cheap play.
Kareem Hunt and Marshawn Lynch at running back.
Marshawn's okay, but Kareem Hunt can't bailed us out.
Fitz and Keenan Allen and Mike Evans.
And this is half point PPR. So
So
Mike
Keenan
got a
was stud.
touchdown, and then yeah,
Larry Fitzgerald. I mean the Cardinals. Whatever.
it was yeah.
Then you had Charles Clay at tight end, Mason Crosby at kicker, and Arizona defense.
Yeah, I mean it was a little. I don't know. Well, I don't think it was quite as good as week 1, but at least we got the Kareem Hunt right.
Yeah, still a solid lineup.
Wasn't that good of a quarterback week last week either, unfortunately.
No.
But for this week, I actually had more money than I typically have to mess around with because I was I don't know. I thought a lot of the players this week I wanted were actually pretty low, and so for quarterback, I went ahead and got Derek Carr. He plays Washington this week. Given that Washington defense, I would not be surprised if he had a 3 or 4 touchdown game again this week here, as I think he's a real nice play. For running backs, I actually went with Le'Veon Bell. He's still the most expensive running back, but I thought his matchup against Chicago, it's his 3rd game back. I know he didn't get much any of the offseason, or
27 carries last game.
I mean, if he can't get it done against Chicago, he's just I think the holdout affects him more than he thinks it did. So I think by the 3rd week, I think he should be set to go, especially given that this matchup shouldn't be that difficult for him. And then as the 2nd running back, I also went with Tariq Cohen against Pittsburgh inversely there. I think with Jordan Howard's injury, I know that was one of the ones. It's half point PPR. He gets a lot of receptions, and so I went with him because I think that it is kind of a little dependent on how much Jordan Howard does with the shoulder. But I don't think Jordan Howard's going to do much, especially given how violently he runs. That he's just going to keep hurting the shoulder, and so I think Cohen's going to get a majority of the work, and I think he has a real good chance, especially since he's a pass catcher, to rack up a bunch of points, even if he doesn't get a touchdown. And so I like him as the number 2. For my first receiver, I went ahead and went with DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, he's getting tons of volume. I think he has the most targets in the league right now, and so I really like him versus New England this week, especially given the fact I expect New England to be blowing them out.
I tweeted it out. 29 targets.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So.
So I'm expecting him to get a ton of work in the second half, as I expect New England to be up by a couple touchdowns. So they're going to go into pass-heavy mode. I went with A.J. Green against Green Bay. I know I said earlier I expect Andy Dalton to actually have an okay week this week. Teams always get a little more motivated when they get new personnel moving in and whatnot since the offensive coordinator's gone. And I just think the only logical choice is to, probably run more with Nixon, but to throw it to A.J. Green as much as possible, especially given the Packers' constant woes at cornerback. So I like him this week. And then we went with Keenan Allen as wide receiver 3. Obviously, he gets a million targets a game as well, gets a lot of receptions. And against the Rams, which I'm not totally convinced is a great team defensively, I know their front's pretty good, but I think he's going to get a lot of work over the middle there, and I think he'll be a nice value, especially since I think he's still relatively cheap compared to the rest of the field. At tight end, we went with Jack Doyle. Like we mentioned earlier, he caught all 8 of his passes last week, which in PPR is a pretty big deal. And he plays Cleveland this week, so I don't see any reason why he wouldn't get any more work, and it should be an easier matchup if nothing else for him too. Kicker, I know nobody really cares, but we went with Will Lutz. They're playing the Panthers. Given how the Panthers play decent defense, I feel that he's going to have a lot of opportunities for a lot of kicks. Saints haven't been overly good at putting the ball in the end zone all year. And then for the defense, we went ahead and went with Denver. They're the most expensive defense this week, but they're playing Buffalo. Given how much trouble Buffalo's had scoring as of late, I just feel that that's a pretty good bet. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, I'm a little bit worried about the second half. If Denver's up a lot, then they just get a bunch of garbage time passes or yards or touchdowns put on them. But I think Denver's a really solid play this week.
Well said.
Outside of Tariq, do you hate any of the other ones?
Can you go down the line and read it off?
Derek Carr, Le'Veon Bell, Tariq Cohen, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Keenan Allen, Jack Doyle, Will Lutz, Denver defense.
Yeah, A.J. Green is not somebody I'm excited about. See, I wouldn't pay up for him at all.
He's kind of one of those guys, him and Cohen, where usually in the DFS you're kind of looking for an edge player, somebody that you don't want to just pick the field, so to speak. I just feel that they have a lot of upside for whatever reason this week.
I have A.J. Green as my 5th overall wide receiver just because of his talent. But, I mean, in DFS, you can obviously pay down. And I think Alshon Jeffrey or even Kelvin Benjamin.
I technically still had $100 left over.
So, you had a lot to work with. So, honestly, it makes sense to pay up. But I think there's
we went really cheap on Le'Veon was $8,700 versus Tariq's $5,600. So that's how I had a lot of money to mess around with.
I think every week I would go back to the Kareem Hunt well.
He had a really tough matchup this week.
Chargers.
I was a little worried about him because he plays. He plays the. I guess he does play the Chargers. I must have mislooked at that. I don't know. I could only have one of them.
The Chargers defense is honestly underlooked.
I wanted Le'Veon more than I wanted him, and I could only have one of them, given the budget. So, I think that was the big reason.
All right, so Austin's Week 3 daily fantasy section. Go ahead and check it out on frontlinefantasyfootball.com. Brandon, where can you follow us at?
Oh, Jason, you just said it. Go on that frontlinefantasy.com right now.
The Frontline what?
The frontlinefantasyfootball.com.
Okay.
On there, there's links to the Twitter. You don't need to type it in anymore. Just click on the link. That's all you got to do. We also have a nice YouTube channel, which for all we know, you could be watching us right now on there.
No, they can't. It's not live.
It'll be live for
they could.
They'll be hearing me say it to them. Like, they know what I mean. And on there, it is Frontline Fantasy Football on YouTube.com. Frontline Fantasy Football on YouTube.com. You can watch us. You can see the beautiful boys. You can see everything. Go on Frontline Fantasy Football on YouTube. We also got an Instagram, Frontline Fantasy Football. Check that out. Is that it?
We also are on iTunes and SoundCloud.
Obviously.
Leave reviews.
Tell your friends.
Tweet us questions. We will be monitoring our Twitter constantly to answer your questions. I know we had one question last week and we answered, within
thousands more
20 minutes. So yeah, just keep flying. Keep sending us questions. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time.
Oh yeah.
Soydora.
I'm never gonna live that one down, am I?
Soydora.
Fake veal or real meal?
I was getting so. I've never heard of a veal.
Opposite way.
I never heard of a veal.
Real
confused.
I honestly didn't know what that was either.
I was so
like,
confused, especially because you put fake deal or something in the notes. So I kept thinking.
I changed it, but
I kept thinking fake meal. I'm like, no, that's not right. And then I kept hearing fake seal.
Well, yeah, Austin didn't try. Which is probably.
I was hearing like 20 different things. I was so confused by the end of it.
It was a good segment, though, right?
The
It was a good segment about
the
it.
real meal, fake
I
veal.
think the name makes it because it's so.
I think, yeah, that's true.